Earlier this week, I finished a 100% playthrough of Retro Rewind, a 90s-style video rental store simulator released by Blood Pact Studios just a couple of weeks ago on March 17th. As a 90s baby myself, I saw this game as a potential portal to the nostalgia of my youth, and both the early trailers and reviews that have been released since then confirm that it was essentially exactly that, and from what I have seen, have been overwhelmingly positive. But is it really that good of a game? Almost. Retro Rewind has all the makings of a great game. The visuals are great, the gameplay itself is smooth, and the premise is fantastic. It is teetering right on the edge of being good, but after finally completing every single challenge that the game has to offer, I have some notes. Now, the early gameplay is fantastic. You're building out your design, customizing everything to meet your specific vision, and there are visual reminders that there are still plenty of things in the game to unlock. You're busy, but your busyness feels like it has direction, a feeling that you are working towards something. But as I started to unlock those things, I noticed that they didn't really add anything to the experience. It was just another 5-second task added to the checkout position, and what's worse is they never seemed to fully move the needle in terms of how much profit I was taking in overall. Functionally, these rewards for progressing turned out to be essentially meaningless most of the time. Now, I get it, it's still a job simulator. There are only so many things you can add before the gameplay becomes unrealistic, but why include them at all if they aren't going to enhance the gameplay or at the very least noticeably speed up your progress towards the next unlockable? The only really helpful unlockable I found was the arcade machines. These things can pull about $100 a day in pure profit, and that means you can start customizing your store the way you want to at a much faster clip. But there's also a huge flaw in the arcade machines. Unlike basically every other element in the game, the arcade machines are not customizable in any way. There are 2 to choose from, and that's it. With the amount of space you can eventually unlock, I saw this as a massive miss, because it essentially means if you want to turn one of the unlocked rooms into an arcade, you have to do it with the same 2 machines filling the entire room. Why not sell just one machine and add a ton of different skins for it? Again, like almost every other asset in the game is already programmed to work. By the time I had even unlocked the arcade machines though, I had another much larger gripe. The game had essentially pivoted to a 100% video return simulator. All day, every day, this was my main focus, scanning returns and bringing them back to the shelves. And the more movies you add to your collection, the longer this task would take. By the time I had finally achieved the 1,000 videos in your collection challenge, this task was taking up most of my day, and that was with the help of my employees who I had chosen specifically for their ability to do this job as fast as possible. But while you can carry 10 movies at a time, they can only carry 4. So their help is really not that helpful at all, especially when you start getting into the realm of hundreds of movies needing to go back each day. In addition, the most profitable movies in the game are new releases. And if you want to make money, it generally doesn't make any sense to open the store until your new release movies have been returned to the shelves. But these aren't always the first movies at the top of the return list, so you might have to spend an unreasonable amount of time returning movies before you even get to your most profitable items to make them available again. Now, when you reach level 20, you stop earning experience altogether, because that's currently the highest level available to reach, and the reward for doing so is the ability to hire a second employee. But since earning experience is no longer valuable, the only reason to have a second employee is to give yourself time during the day to decorate while still earning money, so that you can buy more decorations. I get that that's the standard vicious cycle of most Sims, but in the later stages of the game, it just left me feeling hollow and, to be honest, bored. After you reach level 20, pretty much the only thing left to do is obtain those 1,000 videos to beat the game. And this is my biggest gripe. 1,000 videos is way more than you would think, and the only way to buy those movies is from a terminal in which there are random assortments of movies to buy each new day. The worst part about this, and something that could easily be fixed, is that these videos are delivered in a random assortment most of the time, and they remain randomly assorted when you pick them up. That means you might have to run to your comedy section, then to your sci-fi section, then to your horror section, then back to your comedy section over and over and over again for days on end. Now, you can scroll through the movies in your hand, but only in one direction. So if you pass the movie you want, you have to scroll all the way through your hand to find the one you want again. All of this could be prevented if the game was patched to auto-sort your hand by genre. All of my notes aside, I still feel that this game has massive potential. And since it just came out a couple weeks ago, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the developers that they will continue to add on and make gameplay improvements, hopefully fixing some of the gripes I've listed here. Overall, I'd give the game a 6 out of 10, but I'd be happy to update my rating when they release some meaningful updates. Let me know if you agree in the comments, and if you found this review helpful, like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch so you can see me develop these half-baked opinions in real time. Thank you!